Anyway, hi, Elaine Bradley, singer-guitarist of Nymb, singer-guitarist of There Is No Dana, drummer, backup singer of Neon Trees, singer, guitarist, drummer of Noble Bodies, and another statistic, singer of Kissed Out. What am I forgetting? I don't even know. Probably something else will come up.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. So we'll start just at the beginning.
Yeah.
When you were young, what were you listening to that made you want to participate in music?
Okay, so my very first musical loves were Depeche Mode and Led Zeppelin. Those were like my rock and pop loves. And I went through phases, like there were times when my favorite band was like Alice in Chains or Stone Temple Pilots. And then I found Sunny Day Real Estate as a high schooler, and that blew my mind. Like, I was like, what? That's it. That's for me. I love music that makes me feel something. I like music that is both catchy and clever. You know, I got into like fun time signatures and, you know, just anything that would make me feel, let me express something vocally. Because I feel like my songs are like prophecies a little bit. Like even now, I'll look back at Nymb lyrics and go, that's what I meant. That's what I was feeling. And I was describing what I was feeling, but I didn't have the ability to see it and talk about it. I would just say what felt right. And now that I'm older, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what you were going through. This is what you meant. Like that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of like, music to me has always been almost like a compulsion. It's never felt like a hobby. In fact, I'd get really like insulted. Okay, as background, I'm the youngest of 7. Okay, so I have little kid complex where everything I ever did was like, oh, Elaine's little band, you know, and that always, like, I had a chip on my shoulder, like I wanted to prove myself, because music never felt little or light to me. It never felt like a hobby. It never felt like, oh, it's, you know, she'll grow out of the phase. It never felt like that to me. So I tried to be practical, but like I've always been in bands, real or pretend, since 4th grade.
Cool. Yeah, I think music is very serious, and it's like an obligation as someone who's expressing it. You're answering a lot of my questions, but we'll go into that. What function do you think being in Nymb or There's No Dana served to you at that time and in the future? Like, what do you think you were getting out of it that you weren't getting without it?
Sure. So Nymb and There Is No Dana, so they were kind of consecutive puzzle pieces. So Nymb was my high school band, and we just could not take it lightly. So all of us just arranged our lives to do it after high school. Like I played basketball in high school, could have gone to school for it, you know, and just I couldn't do it. I was like, yeah, but what am I going to do about my band? If I go away to a university that will like pay for my schooling, cool, that's great. But what about my band? So like I chose Nymb over all the practical things. And we moved down to Chicago together and like really set about doing it. And so I think the role it played in my life that made me choose it was my expression for the emotions I had no name for. It was my expression of the issues I had that I couldn't talk about, you know, like it was just the way that I dealt with my busy headspace, you know, like music has always been that for me, and Nymb especially was that for me, because I'm a pretty like funny, light person, but I'm so heavy and dark on the inside about so many things. But also I don't like to bring my heavy everywhere and lay it on people. So Nymb was like the place that I could go be social at a show and like have fun. And then I could get on stage and just rip, this is what I'm feeling, you know? And a lot of my lyrics are about like no one really listens to me. You know what I mean? Because like, it feels like, it's like, oh, it's a certain type of music. But I'm like, man, does anybody listen? I'm really disturbed. You know, like I'm not doing well. I'm fine. But also I'm not doing well. So yeah, it was my outlet. It was my emotional outlet.
Yeah, well, we talk about catharsis a ton.
Therapy even.
Yeah, I mean, how important we've found catharsis, like even as a listener to that music.
Oh, totally.
What was the Could you talk a little bit about like the first early shows?
I remember.
What was the reaction?
Yeah, okay. So the early shows of Nymb. So like I said, it was my high school band. So I was a freshman in high school, and Jamie, our guitarist, was a sophomore. And we were in band class together. We both played percussion because our school didn't have a symphony, and he played violin and guitar. So he was like, I want to do music. I got to do band. All right, I'll do percussion. And then I was in percussion because I played percussion. I never wanted to be the drummer of a band. So we were just back there hanging out in the percussion section talking about how we wanted to make a rock band. So we did. And we had these other two members, Chad Price on bass and Adam Kazmarek on guitar. And I was like, who's going to play the drums? Because I didn't want to do it. And we were like, we don't know anybody. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. Because I had a drum set. I played drums, but not well. And I never wanted to be the drummer. I wanted to be the singer. So I was like, I'll do it until we find one. So I did it my freshman year, my sophomore year. And then my junior year is when we found Ben Kane, who way better than I am, even still. Like, I feel like I learned everything that I know by playing the guitar in a band with Ben Kane. I took that and like went and did another statistic, Noble Bodies and Neon Trees, with what I learned from him. And I learned how to play the guitar by playing drums in Nymb. I would just watch Jamie and be like, and then I'd play in the interim. So our guitarist, Adam, broke his collarbone, and we kind of just kicked him out because he started using a wah pedal too much, if that makes sense. We were like, you like the Grateful Dead, we like Mineral and Sunny Day Real Estate. Two roads are going opposite directions. So we kind of were like, all right, well, we love you. Let's remain friends, but Elaine's going to do it. So I just took over guitaring duties in my junior year, and yeah, that's kind of like the backstory. So we'd play a lot of high school shows. We'd play house shows, like at any friend's parents who would let us play a show, we would do it. And it was high school. So it was like built-in audience. We'd have like 300-400 people, just friends in high school coming out to these shows. We'd play at the Veterans Acres Rotary Building or whatever. That was cool. And then once high school was over, our dream was to play at the Fireside Bowl because we lived in the suburbs of Chicago. So Nymb was a Crystal Lake, Illinois band until we graduated high school, and then we all moved down to the city. And then we met Corey, who was our bassist, through Ben. And that was kind of like the solid 4-piece lineup of people who were like, this is the music we make. So yeah, we moved down to Chicago on West Hollywood Avenue, and the rest is history. Started playing at Fireside, which was like the venue at the time, and then got our first show at Metro, which was like the bigger venue at the time. Like, I saw Radiohead on the Benz tour at Metro in high school. So like when Nymb played Metro, I was like, we've arrived. Like this is what it means. So yeah. Does that answer your question about shows?
Was it validating to you that like all this energy you're pouring into, like with the music and like the reaction you were slowly getting, like?
Oh, sure.
Could you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, it was very validating. I think the built-in crowds in high school kind of like, they set you up in a way for like, this is what it will always be. And then you graduate high school, So, and then you have to earn it. But I have always chosen to be in bands that are impressive live. Does that make sense? So like, we knew if we could just get people to look at us, they would like at least think we were cool and good, if not love us, So it was just, our whole mindset was play any show. That was what it was with Neon Trees as well. Just any band I've ever been in is like, you got to earn it. I've never felt like entitled, but I felt confident that if we could get in front of enough audiences, then, if you build it, it'll come. So yeah, it was very validating. And like, with Nymb touring in the old days, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, we'd tour as much as possible, a couple times a year, like 2, 3, 4 times a year, sometimes between 3 and 6 week tours. We all tried to find jobs. We all worked at Starbucks at one point because they would let us get off work and still pay us the same when we got back. So like, we built our lives around that, around making that the priority. And that's special, to find people who care about it like you do and are willing to like put everything else to the side and put that first. I've been really lucky with that, with bands that I've been in, to find people who like get it like that and feel about it like that, like I do. So I didn't feel like I had to crack a whip. It was like, no, of course we're going to do it.
Do you think that your enthusiasm potentially played like a role in convincing the people around you to be so gung-ho about
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, so I think it's kind of like a snowball, right? Like, so if I take it seriously, it gives you license to take it seriously. If you sniff out people who feel about music the similar way that you do, and then you give each other permission to like be confident about it. And, and we all unabashedly loved our band. You know what I mean? We were like, we're great. You know what I mean? Like, we're great. You just have to see us. And I think you kind of have to have that, whether it's diluted or not. I mean, I don't think it was, but like other people might go like, oh, I mean, that's not for me. Fine, it's not for you. But also like, we love it so much, it doesn't matter. So I think you kind of have to have this, like, I wouldn't call it arrogance, but it's a confidence that you build, and you build it by playing and playing and playing. And then we were tight, and it was like, come see us live. Even if you don't like the music, you'll be impressed. You'll feel something, and you'll be like, whoa, I mean, that was a good show. You put on a good show.
Yeah, you guys were bought into it.
It's like,
right?
Yeah,
you guys believed in it. It's all the more special. I do want to talk about, because we've interviewed, are you aware of the band like Eldritch Anisette?
No.
It's a female-fronted emo band.
Cool.
Could you talk at all about the experience of being a female-fronted band in that time?
Sure.
What it was like. A lot's changing now, but I think it's super important to talk about that dynamic.
Yeah, I kind of have a hot take about gender.
Here.
Like generally,
Yeah.
and then gender in music. So like, I personally, Elaine Bradley, back then Elaine Doty, I never considered myself to be a girl doing anything. I just didn't. I never considered it. When I thought, what do I want to do? I didn't think, well, I'm a girl, so what are my options? I thought, what do I love? Like, so I played sports. Like we're talking from the time I was like in preschool. I just did what I wanted to do, and I didn't care about what norms were. I didn't really care. So when people would tell me what norms were, it always offended me. They'd be like, well, that's unusual for a girl to, and I'm like, why? What does it matter? Like, okay, first of all, I didn't consider that I was a girl, so thanks for reminding me. And second of all, like, why does it matter? Like, why do we have to talk about it? So I've kind of been a little ornery about like the whole girl thing. And it bothered, like, obviously I play the drums for a living now, which is weird. I don't consider myself to be a real drummer, by the way. I really don't. I know I do it for a career. I would call myself a performer who performs live on the drums. That's what I would do, just so as to not insult any real drummers out there that know that I can't keep up with them. I know, you know that I know, it's not real. But also, I'm very good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm very good at it for what it is. But also, we know I'm not watching YouTube tutorials and like really keeping a notebook about the things I'm working on. I don't care. So back to my point, when people say like, oh, you're really good for a girl, I hate that, because I'm like, well, listen, I want to be competent, period. You know what I mean? I don't need to be the best. I don't need to be competing to be like the most amazing vocalist or the most amazing drummer or guitarist or whatever it is. I want to hold it down. I want to do what I do, and I want to do it well, right? So what did it matter? So so being in Neon Trees, I get asked this question a lot because I'm a girl drummer, which is even more like, oh, than being a girl guitarist singer, right? And my response has historically been kind of glib and flippant. Forget your boobs, go to work. You know what I mean? Just like, if you're good at something, follow it, pursue it, play to your strengths, work on your weaknesses, be realistic with yourself. Do you have business doing this? Are you only in that band because you're a girl and somebody else would be better? Get out, right? But if you're good enough, do it. Doesn't matter if you're a dude or a girl, or, you know what I mean? So my experience with that has just been me not thinking about it and other people reminding me of it. And me going, oh, that's right. Is that special to you? Cool. Is it weird to you? Cool, I don't care. Like one time I was in my band, Another Statistic, which is how I met the guys in Neon Trees. So I played drums and then switched on guitar with a guitarist, and it's a little 3-piece, very fun, soft, loud, melodic rock band. And I was setting up my drums, you know, at this show, preparing to play. And the sound guy came up to me, and the question he asked me was, oh, are you the drummer's girlfriend? And I was like, yeah, what? So So I'd be setting up his drums. Like, where's he? He's just getting a sandwich and a drink in the back. Oh, that I made for him. I made him a sandwich, and now I'm going to set up. What question was that? So like, I'll run into stuff like that and be like, my mind gets a little blown because I don't think of gender. I don't really make assumptions based on gender. So when people do, I'm like, oh, that's right. That's a thing. But mostly I try to ignore it and just do what I love. Just kind of long-winded, but
no, I think that's perfect, man. Because we're seeing, I mean, a ton of female-fronted bands now, and I think I've heard horror stories of like in the '90s, female-fronted bands being treated really biasedly because of that solely. But I think you're incredibly right. Like,
sure,
people limit themselves based on how they're born, and I think you're doing yourself an incredible disservice by treating yourself like a girl.
And
like
if you saunter into a place like I do, with confidence, people kind of have no choice but to take you seriously. So like they can go, I want to dismiss you, and then you show up and you're like, I won't be dismissed, and they're like, oh shit, okay,
sure,
I guess, yeah, all right, sorry about that. You know what I mean? So yeah, you kind of have to do what you love and have confidence in it, and then the rest will follow.
Sure. So let's talk about the end of Nymb and the whole Chicago scene.
Yeah.
Coming to Provo.
Right. Okay, so There Is No Dana fits into there because that was kind of the stopgap. So Nymb ended, I think we'd all have maybe different versions as to why Nymb ended. I don't know that that's either here nor there, so I don't want to like he said, she said that. But the point is it came to an end. And we decided it, and we decided to do it right. We decided to do it with a last show. We released our last album on the day of our last show, had a last show t-shirt that literally said Nymb's last show, you know, August 3rd, 2001, or whatever it was, you know. So like, we at least had the respect for each other to not implode. We were like, hey, this is ending. Let's do it right. Let's have it. We did one last tour. We did a last show. It was like, you know, an emotional thing because it was our lives for years and years. So when Nymb ended in 2001, I like had to do something, right? Because I had the compulsion. And Ben, Nymb's drummer, we are good friends and we love doing music together. We like actually playing guitars together and singing together and like whatever it is, we like doing it. So I did a solo album under the moniker Big Thick Skin, which is a Nymb song. So I took that and did a solo album myself. Ben played on 2 songs, I think, or maybe 1. And then I did the rest of it, the rest of the drums and everything by myself. And then when I was done doing that, I was like, I'm still here. So Ben and I were like, well, I was like working on some guitar stuff that I thought was cool. And I was like, I can't not make music. I'm making cool music. Ben, do it with me. And he was like, let's get my friend Pete involved. And so Pete Wolf, who's rest in peace, he's no longer with us, but he played the bass, Ben played the drums, I played the guitar. And it was like a limited thing. It was like a few weeks in like this sheet metal warehouse where somebody's friend worked that we were able to practice in after hours. So it was late at night in this sheet metal factory. We wrote these songs and then like recorded them on my little Roland VS 880. You know, I did all the knob twiddling. We had like, you know, 3 microphones, you know, SM58s or whatever. It was like very bare bones, but we loved the songs. I think we played 1 show. And then, then I left. So that's kind of where There Is No Dana fits in after Nymb and why. And then, you know, we went our separate ways. I went to Germany, served a mission for the church I was in at the time, and came back, did another Big Thick Skin thing that I still haven't released with Ben and his brother or whatever. So yeah, and then I came to Utah to go to BYU. And I had met a guy on the mission I was talking about. His name was Bryce Taylor, and we started the band Another Statistic together. Soft Loud, that's that band right up there. There are pictures on the wall, everybody, as you can see. So yeah, that's how I met the guys in Neon Trees. They had like the singer and the guitarist had a different lineup, and then we played shows together and kind of just sniffed each other out once again, like, are you serious? Okay, so then we moved to California together to make it happen, and it happened. So children, if you stay with it long enough and you don't doubt yourself, if you have the mindset that it will work out somehow, it will. and you have the stomach to like work for it. It's miserable. We had the worst year of our lives in California, but also we earned that. We earned it. So yeah, I feel great about it. That's kind of how the timeline went.
Sure, cool.
Yeah.
You talk about this itch, right? What do you think you got that from? Just like obligation to create and never really be satisfied.
Right.
Even if you were satisfied, it's another.
Well, it's not enough ever.
Sure.
You know, you can have success and then it's like, but I still have that thing inside of me. I don't know if I was born with it or developed a taste for it or just, like I said before, I call it a compulsion. I feel like it's a compulsion to create, to make music. There's something about it that is so like, that expresses like the deepest internal parts of an individual. And I love bands. I've always, like I've done solo project stuff or whatever, my own acoustic stuff, but like bands are where I personally thrive. I love the collaboration. I love somebody else's strengths coming in with mine and finding how they work. Like, I love hyping up people in my own bands. Like, I don't have the thing where I need to be more important than everybody or like the thing that everybody, I want like to be impressive and to go, isn't he impressive? Oh my gosh, right? His bass line, amazing. Or like, yeah, that fill, Ben, oh, how, you know, or like these harmonies, oh, thank you. I love the collaboration of a band, you know? So I don't know, that's my specific compulsion, is to just get with people and see how it works, you know, to find those people that you like. It's synergy. They elevate you, you elevate them, and like you would never have created the thing you both created or all four of you created alone, but you did it together in this way, and it's like a baby. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, and maybe this is too off topic, but itch is, in this sense, it's kind of multifaceted in the sense, do you ever want to satiate the itch, like have no more compulsion, or is it?
No, I mean, I'm getting to the point in my life where like I've been in a band, doing the band for most of my life now. You know what I mean? And I think I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I'm not done. You know what I mean? Like we're touring with Goo Goo Dolls this summer. Fun. Why not? So like still doing that like career thing. Neon Trees isn't really my band though. So and it's not really a band. Like it is, it started a band, hasn't really turned into one. So like it doesn't really scratch the itch. This is why I still do this other band, Noble Bodies, that is like an actual collaborative band, and it's mine and it's theirs, and it's like living and breathing, and we still do shows. We have a show coming up in Provo in the end of February. So like I still do that stuff. So I can't imagine a time where I'm gonna go, it's over. Music is over. I think I can see a time where I go, all right, touring heavily is over. You know, I don't want to have to do that. I've not gotten there yet. We'll see, guys. I might be like Rolling Stones, just like, you know, or the rocker or whatever, where he's in the ice bath after the show. He's just too old. Haven't gotten there yet. I still feel great, but like it might come. I can see a time when I like scale down what I do, but I can't imagine a time where I don't do. So yeah.
Yeah, man, I think it's really cool. We've talked to people who are in bands in the late 90s, and like, have you ever heard of the band I Hate Myself? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty like prolific now, like via streaming.
Yeah.
Pretty heavily revered. But both of them, one is a teacher, one is a data analyst, and they have pretty sour thoughts on their time in music.
Right.
So I think it's cool you keep it so close to heart and maintain it. What has your thoughts been seeing Nymb get onto the internet and continue living longer than Neon Trees has been? I mean, what's your reaction?
Oh, this has been a treat. Thank you to anyone who cares about Nymb or There Is No Dana. It kind of started with There Is No Dana, the online stuff. Somebody posted a TikTok. In fact, it's a little bit of a saga because there was an artist named Ren that alleged that There Is No Dana's EP was theirs. We were like, what the hell? What do you, okay. So we kind of had to get a lawyer involved and say, stop, you know, stop using our, what kind of person finds obscure indie music and goes, that's mine now? What kind of morally bankrupt, empty soul human takes music that's not theirs and says it's theirs and feels good about, sorry, not cool. Anyway, so that happened. And so we had to go yank it back and say, that was not yours. I can prove it. I mean, whatever. So we proved it. We got the domain, we got the rights to it, and then we were able to officially release it to streaming and there's a record on the wall over there, release the record, which is great. And so because we did that through Justin at this record label called Forge Again, who actually released a single for Nymb way back in the day, and then released my solo project, Big Thick Skin. So we kind of had a working relationship already, and he was like, guys, I'm still doing it. He still does Forge Again, which is awesome. So he's like, hey, I'm still doing it. You want me to put out something? And we were like, yeah, of course. How fun is that? And then he was like, hey, what about Nymb? And we were like, great. Let's see if we can get Nymb going, because why not? It feels like the 90s kind of real emo is coming back now, and kids who are in their teens will reach out to me through socials and be like, oh, I just found Nymb, I can't believe it. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You know what I mean? Because I thought that was something that me and a few hundred people would remember and we'd never connect. You know what I mean? So it's been cool to have new people connect with it. And then people who were at those shows reach out and go, here's the stuff that I have. People have been really cool about giving us recordings they have or pictures they have or whatever from back in the day. So that's been really fun. And to reconnect, because I had not spoken with Jamie, the guitarist, who was my best friend in high school, and thereafter we lived together, we toured together. I hadn't spoken to him since we broke up, since 2001, and then we reconnected because of the whole online world and trying to do it again. And then he came to a Neon Trees show this past year, which was so fun. It was fun to see him and be with him and reminisce, and it's very cool. So I could not be more tickled and appreciative. I'm just grateful. I don't know what you do when you're not grateful for stuff. Whatever it is, whatever it isn't, I don't care what it isn't. I'm so grateful for what it is. And it'd be cool to play shows. We've kind of tossed around the idea of trying to figure out how to play a few shows. And I think that would be great. I haven't fronted a band in so long. That would be fun. That'd be fun. It would take a lot of practice, though, because I haven't fronted a band on a guitar in so long.
That's kind of a good segue. Could you compare and contrast, what you get out of drumming and what you get out of expressing vocally? Okay, so
drumming, if I only drummed, I think I'd be pretty dissatisfied, but I do a ton of backup vocals in Neon Trees, so I get to still sing and belt and perform, and I focus most on the singing and that's still kind of my thing. I'm just not the lead singer. So and I tell Tyler, there's no one else I would ever play behind other than you. You're good enough. I'll do it. You know what I mean? I will support you. But I think the drumming part is really fun for me because it's so performative. Like I said, I'm a performer playing the drums. And when I get to play the drums, it's so physical. I get to flail. I mean, I'm a little sad that I don't get to jump around anymore like I did in Nymb. But I do I still stand up sometimes and I'm banging and I'm all over the place and, I'm and singing and then, and so to me, it's even if I'm not lead singing, I'm expressing, I'm emoting in such a way that still scratches that itch of I want to get it out. I want to express my emotions. Even if I'm not saying words that I wrote, I'm belting them in a way and I'm playing in a way and I'm doing it to where it's an art form and I'm holding it down. So there's a lot that goes into it, and my whole goal is to do something difficult, which, singing a thing and then using all your limbs to do another thing. I kind of have to unzip my brain and let it go into two separate things. But I try to do it to where the drumming is the thing I don't think about. It's the muscle memory. I got to rehearse enough to where it's muscle memory so that I can think about the singing and the dancing. so that I can figure out like how to perform and I don't have to think about what I'm doing, you know? So that's kind of what I get out of drumming now. I think the thing that I got out of lead singing, especially in Nymb and There's No Day, those are mine. Those are my words. Those are my thoughts, my feelings. Those are like, it's like straight from here to there, just, And so I miss that. I miss getting to like use my own words to express that. So, but I think I don't know that I'm less fulfilled playing the drums and singing backups but I think I'm probably like, by necessity more in the background, which I don't love.
Just put carrying it. The drums are so.
Oh, sure. But you know.
Always preach that.
Yeah. They're the spine, of course, but the drummer does get screwed on lights a lot.
Okay.
Because you're in the back,
Sure,
you know.
sure.
It's just not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I need one of those roaming drum sets. I need to be on like a roller coaster track to go around the stage. I would do that. That'd be funny.
Yeah. Lastly, what do you think you've learned from it all, like the whole music journey? I mean, I think your experience is rare in going from a really DIY place and really persisting through it all to where you're at now.
Yep.
But what do you think you've learned from like expressing yourself so vulnerably to trying new things to, if you could sum all that up to some lesson?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've learned from myself how important music, and not just music, performance is to me as an individual, because I've never been able to leave it alone. I've just never, ever been able to go, and now I pivot and I do that. You know, it's always like, well, I'll pivot. How do I still do that? You know? So like, I think I've learned from myself how important it is to me. And I think what I've learned by starting, you know, as a high school band, how many high school bands are there? I mean, goodness gracious. And how many of those people are really serious? So like, I think I've just learned that like, first of all, persistence pays off. And second of all, that having almost like a delusional belief that what you have to express is worth expressing on a public stage, like whether that's delusional or not, I think having the belief that like, no, this is worth telling, this is worth doing, this is worth saying, this is worth people seeing, this is worth your time and money. I'm telling you that every time I get on stage, this is worth your time and money. And I believe it. I'm like, you'll see, believe me, buy the ticket, come, you'll see it's worth it. It's worth your time and money. So like, I think I've learned that like things that are like, I don't know, I would almost call it of the spirit, you guys. I would say that like my connection with music transcends my physical. It just does. Since I was a tiny child, I would hear songs and they would make me feel a thing and I'd go, oh, like what has power to do that? You know, like rarely do words have a power to do that. Sometimes somebody says something and you're like, whoa, I'm struck. But way more often it's a song. Words in a song or the flow of music. I remember the first time I got goosebumps and like felt like I felt like I was almost on drugs when I was 7 years old and heard the chorus, the bridge of Kashmir by Zeppelin, you know, all I see, and I was like, what? Whoa. And I kept rewinding it, trying to get that high again. And I think that's the moment that I fell in love with the feeling that music can give. And then I wanted to be it. You know what I mean? I could no longer get it from listening. I had to get it by doing. I had to try to do it. I wanted to be that for other people. So I don't know. If you're as compulsive and crazy about that type of thing, I think if you stick with it, you'll find a way. And I've seen people find a way on the music production side that used to be in bands, or even on the tech side. People used to be in bands and they go, actually, I'm a really good guitar tech. I find a lot of fulfillment by teching for all these different bands. And I get to be involved in different genres and I get to be on this side of it. And so like, I don't think everyone needs to do the same thing to feel fulfilled. It's just I'm that kind of narcissistic person who wants to be the one who's like, look at me, I swear I'm worth it.
I love buying into delusions of grandeur.
Right?
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I just think you're right that it's this intangible thing that invokes feelings in other people. And I mean, you've seen the past 30 years, people still like connect with it, with Nymb and everything. So I think you're definitely right.
Absolutely.
It is worth it to put it out there.
And I think the juxtaposition, if I may, just one last thing, the juxtaposition.
Let me see, I have a couple more.
Sure.
Oh, good.
That's okay.
Of course. I like talking about this stuff. So the juxtaposition, I think, of the time that we're in, I mean, you've got AI going crazy. I mean, there's like music writing software that AI, people are putting out albums of AI. I'm kind of grossed out. I'm kind of grossed out by it. But at the same time, like, I think it's a cool juxtaposition that a lot of younger kids are going back to rock roots. They're going back to punk, to the original emo, to like, you know, like the power of music, the feeling, the rawness, the not polished perfection of it. So I think a new generation is finding things like my old bands and going, that, and then emulating it like we did with the bands that we thought were cool and emulated them. And I think that's a cool juxtaposition to go, okay, yeah, everything's so polished and pop is so like, you know, it's got a formula and whatever. And I'm part of that. Like, I think the pop formula is amazing. Like, I studied music, like not in school, but like we would, in the early days of Neon Trees, we would dissect songs that we liked. We'd be like, okay, what's the formula? A, B, you know, you got intro, verse 1, pre-chorus, chorus, dropout, verse 2, pre-chorus, chorus 2, bridge. You know, you'd map them and you'd see like, oh, this is what I like about music. This is what I like when music does to me, you know? So like, I think it's cool, the juxtaposition of like a totally polished mainstream thing and then a generation of kids going, nah, fuck it, you know, we're gonna do what we want. We're gonna do what feels right. And we're just gonna make it so human.
Yeah.
I like both ends of that.
That's perfect. We say that all the time, man. There's just a visceral nature to what that genre we're talking about. Like, it's full of flaws, as imperfect vocals, but there's something relatable about that.
What was autotune? Wasn't even around at the time. Sometimes I'm mortified by that. But also, it's fine.
I think that's a great answer.
I guess my last couple questions are, so the documentary is called Finding Peace Through Hardcore. So for individuals who maybe don't have such an outlet, like they live in, like we were driving by some tiny, tiny towns and maybe they don't have the friends to make a band, like what is the advice for people who do not have this Nymb outlet or this group of friends to make, like what do they do to find peace?
Well, I mean, I think online, for all of its flaws and detriments, is a really cool place to find community as well, as long as you can do it safely and with your eyes wide open. So I think kids finding, like, I love Finding Peace Through Hardcore. That's a cool title. Good job. But like, when you find people who like the same stuff, who have the same flavors that they enjoy, and you can connect with them, I think online makes that easier for kids in tiny towns. But even in tiny towns, you're not the only one that's your age. You're gonna have a friend or two who, like, you sniff each other out and you go, hey, we're gonna do that. And then we're gonna maybe find it online, but let's emulate it by ourselves. And then you gotta move. You know what I mean? I did it, you did it. Like, I lived in the suburbs of Chicago. We graduated high school and we were like, gotta go to where the action is, moving to the city. You know, if you want it badly enough, you will rearrange your life to find it, right? So if you're a kid in a small town, graduate. Don't piss away your schooling. Like, be realistic. Graduate with opportunities, and then make those opportunities work for you to get somewhere you want to be. And then use those opportunities to make other opportunities. Like, I don't know. I just think there's something to be said for not like, damn the man about everything, for going, all right, I'll play the game I'm going to learn the rules so I can break the rules. I'll play your game so I can get out of this town, so I can go to the town I want to be in to do what I want to do. I don't know, just like, there's more to life than the one thing you think is cool when you're 15. So like, think the thing is cool when you're 15, make it your identity, but gosh, keep your options open. And the world is so much bigger, and I think when you're young and you feel stuck and like small, it's pretty easy to go like, anarchy, you know. Now, be smarter than that. Learn the rules to break them, you know. Become somebody worth looking at, worth looking into. Like, make art that's like compelling. You know, do something. Don't be like, I'm a victim of my circumstance, you know.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer.
One final one. So I feel like the determinism that you express it's very clear throughout this interview, but I'm curious, with Nymb, when you guys first started, was it built on like friendship and love, or was it like already like the itch where you're driving because you want to make music, or was it built, or maybe it's synergistic or symbiotic? But
yeah, so I think,
and maybe through all your bands too, like I don't
sure,
know, or
yeah. So I think with Nymb, because that was my first real band, right? Like I said, I had other pretend or real at the time bands. That was my first one where it was like, all right, we're going to try and tour. This is real to us. But I was a freshman in high school when it started. So like, nobody was looking out for us. We were just making our own way. You know what I mean? It wasn't like my dad was in the industry or like, you know what I mean? Some little bands have parents who are like, we're going to open doors. We had nobody opening doors. So we were like, all right, what do? Let's look in our little town. Let's do shows for our friends. Let's do the thing. And I think it was Jamie and I who, you know, stayed the guitarist. He and I are the two that founded it, that stayed in it until the end. So like he and I are really like the cornerstone of Nymb. And then finding Ben was like, you get it. So then he stayed for the rest of the time. And, you know, we had bassists come and go for different reasons and had luck with them or whatever. But the three of us really were like pretty serious about it. But it took forming a band to kick out members who weren't as serious. You know, I think any band, you're lucky if you start a band and all the same members like it exactly the same and are willing to sacrifice exactly the same. So like that carries over into, you know, when I moved to Utah and I started that band, Another Statistic, like the three of us were so serious. We toured all as much as possible. And then the other guitarist, singer guy got married and he was like, no, I'm going to have a baby. And I was like, okay, how do I keep this going? And then I joined the guys in Neon Trees who were also like with their other members going, you don't mean it. You don't mean it, you know? So you just have to you have to be so willing to sacrifice for a thing that you find other people who do the same thing. And you will. It's a weeding out process. So like, yeah, I think Jamie and I, obviously, like we had no way of knowing when we were 14 and 15, like that it was gonna be like that. But I think we just were like, hey, we're both interested in this. Let's see where it goes. And like I said before, it was like we just lent each other confidence. It was like, well, I'm serious. Oh yeah, well, I can be serious too. Yeah, we're gonna do it, you know? And then you do it and you get positive feedback and you're like, no, we're getting better. And now we wanna get tighter and like be more impressive. And you're gonna play like this and I'm gonna jump around. And you just, it's almost like you empower each other to let your walls down. And I think that's the coolest thing about a band is that you go, we're skin in the game. You're gonna look stupid, I'm gonna look stupid, and then it'll be so stupid it's cool, you know? So I think that, and with Neon Trees, the same thing. It's like you all, Chris and Tyler and I were like so serious, and we would play shows for 10 people like it was 10,000. We would just be like, that's right. You know what I mean? Delusions of grandeur. Here we are. Thank you. Good night. You know? And it was like his smattering of applause. But all those, you know what? Out of those 10 people, 5 bought shirts. And you have to like, as a small band, you kind of have to look for victories so you don't get discouraged. Dude, only 10 people came to the show, but half of them bought shirts. And like all of them talked to us afterwards and were like, whoa. You know, so you got to like measure your successes and keep yourself like fed almost with success on a scale so that you can build up, because it's very rare. I don't know anybody who was an overnight success. I don't. Like most people have a backstory. occasionally you'll find somebody who like, ooh, they put up one Vine or, one YouTube video and then they got super famous. That's not typical, especially when it comes to bands. So like, you just got to sniff people out, give them a shot, and be willing to pivot.
Beautiful.
Yeah, perfect.
Beautiful.
I think
The power of the pivot.
that wraps it up. Yeah.
Radical.
It's about it.